Welcome to Fresh Talk News Channel. Today, we delve into the latest news update. Lansing, Michigan, AP, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, a potential 2028 White House candidate, stood awkwardly in the Oval Office as President Donald Trump signed executive orders and assailed his political opponents on Wednesday. This came shortly after Whitmer delivered a speech nearby, offering soft criticism of Trump but emphasizing shared priorities. At the beginning of his remarks, Trump praised the second-term Democratic governor as a very good person, who has done an excellent job, a sharp departure from his tone during his first presidency, when Whitmer was one of his fiercest opponents. She was just feet from his desk when he later signed a pair of memoranda directing the Justice Department to investigate two of his critics and signed an executive order to exact retribution against a law firm whose work he opposed. Whitmer's office later issued a statement saying she was surprised to be brought into the Oval Office, and emphasized that her presence is not an endorsement of the actions taken or statements made at that event. Whitmer was in Washington to deliver a Build America, Build address, where she called for bipartisan cooperation to strengthen American manufacturing. This marked her second one-on-one meeting with Trump in less than a month, this time to discuss tariffs expected to disproportionately affect Michigan, a state whose economy is heavily tied to the auto industry, which relies on trade with Canada, Mexico, and other countries. Whitmer's approach contrasts sharply with other high-profile Democratic governors, many of whom are also seen as potential contenders for the 2028 presidential nomination. However, Whitmer faces a more challenging political landscape than leaders such as Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker or California Governor Gavin Newsom, as she represents a state with a divided legislature and one that went for Trump in two of the last three elections. Even Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, the Democratic governor of a state that voted for Trump in 2024, has taken a more critical stance toward Trump, telling reporters Tuesday that Trump is looking to screw over our farmers with tariffs. In her speech Wednesday, which came before Trump announced he was pausing tariffs on most nations except for China, Whitmer highlighted areas of agreement with Trump on tariffs but criticized how they had been implemented. I understand the motivation behind the tariffs, and I can tell you, here's where President Trump and I do agree, we do need to make more stuff in America, Whitmer said, before adding, I'm not against tariffs outright, but it is a blunt tool. You can't just pull out the tariff hammer to swing at every problem without a clearly defined end goal. Once one of Trump's most vocal critics during his first term and the campaign trail last year, Whitmer has adopted a more measured tone toward the president since his re-election. She has delivered multiple speeches calling for finding common ground. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu, Whitmer said during a discussion following her speech. My oath to the people of Michigan is to continue to show up, even when it means I'm going to get my lunch handed to me. Colorado's Democratic Governor Jared Polis directly responded to Whitmer's speech Wednesday, saying the tariff hammer Whitmer referred to winds up hitting your own hand rather than the nail. Tariffs are bad outright because they lead to higher prices and destroy American manufacturing, Polis said on social media. Pritzker has remained a leading voice of state-level opposition to Trump, sharply criticizing the new tariffs this week. Meanwhile, Newsom appealed directly to international partners, urging them to spare his state from retaliatory measures and declaring, California is not Washington, D.C. Whitmer says reindustrialization will take time. Her balance was seen in her address Wednesday and the conversation with former Fox News anchor Gretchen Carlson afterward. She agreed with Trump on the need to build more in America but made it clear that she disagrees with his approach to tariffs, emphasizing that such a shift doesn't happen overnight. There's not a shortcut here. Strategic reindustrialization must be a bipartisan project that spans multiple presidential administrations, Whitmer said in her address. We need to be strategic about tariffs on the technology we actually want to make in America. Whitmer, who has less than 2 years left in office due to term limits, has spent much of this year traveling outside Michigan on international trade trips and visits to Washington, D.C. and other states, following a 2024 in which she dedicated considerable time campaigning for fellow Democrats. Despite this, she reiterated on Wednesday that she is not signaling a run for president in 2028, though her speech is unlikely to quiet the speculation, this year and in the years to come, no matter who's in the White House, we need to be betting on American workers. We need to bring chip manufacturers back home. Let's dominate the seas and the skies and the roads. Let's innovate and let's build, Whitmer said in closing. Thanks for watching Fresh Talk News channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more news and updates.